Today I'm sharing how to sous vide with a multi-pot. Hey home chefs, it's Jenna here from sipbitego, and today I'm going to share with you an awesome thing. So you might be used to like traditional sous vide machines, the stick machines that you see me cooking with a lot of in my sous vide videos here at sipbitego, but actually there are all different sorts of machines available on the market today. And today I'm going to share with you an awesome one. So I'm partnering with Fissler, and they're really well known for having awesome pressure cookers. And now they have a machine that's an 18 function in one. It like basically does everything except plate your food if you think about it. But it has they have this machine that's the Souspreme multi-cooker. And so now you don't just have an electric pressure cooker or a yogurt maker or whatever, you know, the million functions they have, which I'll share with you in just a moment. But now you can actually sous vide in a pressure cooker. And I'm gonna go walk you through why that's a really cool thing and what makes these multi-pots different than using just a regular sous vide stick to sous vide your food. But anyways, today I'm going to start way at the beginning, and I'm going to open up the Souspreme multi-pot with you, and I'm going to do like a walkthrough unboxing of multi-cooker so you can see exactly what it's like and what it would be like when you get it in your home and open it up for the first time. Now, I can't wait to bring this to you, so let me just move my camera a little bit closer and we'll get right to it. My husband's texting me and I'm like, please do not come down. He just was working out, so he's starving. But I'm like, you gotta wait, babe. Okay, let's see. Can you see it? Woo! Oh my God! I love literature. I love good literature. Full color literature. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it with you. So I'm gonna unbox this. I'm gonna see what's included in the kit. I'm gonna check out the sous vide function. And then I have some beets over here, and I absolutely love sous vide vegetables. If you've never sous vided vegetables, I feel like this thing is in my face. If you've never sous vided vegetables, you really have to give it a try. The trick is you cannot sous vide them, generally speaking, during the same time you're sous viding a piece of meat. And that is because when you sous vide vegetables, they need to sous vide at such high of a temperature, usually in like the 180s, that in order to break down, that is just not gonna work, because like a perfect steak to me or a perfect steak to most people is gonna be around like 130 something, maybe closer to 140 depending on like rare, medium rare. And actually, I noticed here, so helpful, Fissler includes a sous vide table so you know all of that information. So you want to sous vide them at different times. So you could throw your sous vide vegetables in the Souspreme multi-cooker and do them for like whatever short amount of time it usually takes. Like sous vide asparagus is about 10 minutes, and there are some other sous vide dishes that are really fast as well. But anyways, I'm ahead of myself, so the first thing we need to do is access the sous vide machine. Woo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Sweet. Okay, back to biz. It's like the unveiling of a new baby or something. Oh my God, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. So in case you're new to sous vide cooking, don't forget to subscribe to the sipbitego channel on YouTube, where I share a ton of my sous vide recipes. And I also have a book, the Home Chef Sous Vide Cookbook, which has over 100 recipes. So let's get to it. So this is my first time seeing the Souspreme, and I'm really excited about learning how to use a multi-cooker sous vide machine. I know that it's like very similar to using a sous vide stick, but it does have a couple really nice built-in things to it. One, this is just like heavy duty and I love it already, but one thing that I should put the valve on. Oh, I like this. It has a really nice release and seal thing where this valve goes. I'll show that to you. I'm like, they must have included, all right, here's some stuff I'm looking for. Very smart packers here, these Fissler people. measuring cup. I just always throw trash on my floor. I learned from my toddler, just throw it on the floor. It comes with a rice paddle, and I will say, like, pressure cookers are one of my personal favorite ways to make rice, because you just throw the water in, you just throw the rice in. I felt like at different times that I've made rice that it's been a little bit confusing on the stove. I think, you know, it has to do, I don't know, with not watching the pot of rice or something like that. So at least with the pressure cooker, you don't have to worry about really watching the rice. It's really simple. It does all the work for you. It's perfect every time because it has that controlled environment. So thank you, Fissler Souspreme, for the new rice paddle. You obviously don't leave that plastic in. So I'm just plugging in the machine here. Now, traditionally, I have been sous videing in a big, large bucket, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like right now. So usually there's some sort of stick sous vide device. Please don't look at this one, it's like cracked and broken, because it's old and I've been sous videing a long time. But usually I stick the stick in a bucket like this, and you can use a stock pot or something else, but comparably, it's actually a very, can you still see me? Not that tall. It's comparably a very similar size to what the multi-pot is gonna be able to hold. One thing that's super nice about the multi-pot is that it's going to retain the heat of the cooks much better than using something like this. So whenever you're sous videing with some sort of bucket like this, you wanna make sure there's a cutting board under the bucket so heat doesn't crack really nice countertops. So anything that's like a natural countertop, this is granite, anything like that, you need to put a cutting board under. Now I noticed right away the Souspreme multi-pot will not have that problem because it's insulated and it's also, you know, built for that reason. This is kind of like a chef grade bucket, and a stock pot would be similar, but this is gonna keep all the heat in, and they've already tested for that to make sure that it's safe for countertops. So another nice thing is that you can just take this and you put the water in here, and then the multi-cooker is actually doing the sous vide. And how you do that is by hitting the button. I'm like backwards where I see myself. Where are you, sous vide? There, oh, it was like the closest one to me. Okay, right here. So you just hit the sous vide function. You have to make sure the lid is on, but you don't want it unsealed. You want it set to venting. Now what this does and why this is important and pretty cool if you ask me that it includes a lid, is that with this one, with this bucket, you either need a bucket that has a lid, so you get a special one that has a circle cut out for the sous vide machine, or you need to put a towel, like saran wrap or foil, and then towels on top if you're doing a long cook, because otherwise the exposure to air means that the steam is coming up and releasing into the air. If you're doing a long cook like short ribs or something else that's a good 24-hour cook. So the sous vide function in here, I know, retains the heat a lot better, so you have a couple of those convenience things built right in. So that makes me pretty excited for this. I thought this was gonna be like a longer unboxing video for the Souspreme multi-pot, but it's done. All I had to literally do is plug it in, and now I'm gonna get ready to sous vide. So let me get rid of this. Let me go vacuum seal my beets. Whenever I think of beets, I think of like The Office and Schrute Farm. Yeah, anyway. So I'm gonna get my beets in order, and I'll be right back. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to fill this with water so the water inside starts heating up for the sous vide function. So I'm going to take out the inside pot. Woo! Okay. Oh, it says Fissler. So I'm going to fill up the pot almost all the way with water. I'm going to use hot water, which I think is a really good sous vide trick for if you're using the bucket or something like this, because hot water is going to, I don't know, it just makes it easier it heats up faster. I don't know if that's like scientifically proven, but that's how I'm living my life. All right, you can't see it, but I left a couple inches at the top of this and it's pretty much full. Yeah, just a couple inches at the top. And I know just because I've sous vide'd so many things, like, well, cross my fingers, but when I put the sous vide bag of beets inside, they should be fine with the space that I've left. There's way more water than I need, and that is cool as well. So I'm gonna put this on. It's kind of embarrassing to use things for the first time in front of other people, so I'm happy this is super user-friendly, but please don't mind me. I forgot which way the cover went. So there's a little area here, a little area where this thing goes, and that helps lock it in. So I have the water in there, and now I'm going to make sure the valve is on release, as they instructed me to. That I did. And then on the multi-pot, press the sous vide button. It starts out at a temperature of 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Press the sous vide button again within 3 seconds to set a different temperature. Each time you press the button, the temperature setting will increase by 1 degree. So I have to know how long to sous vide the beets, and I haven't sous vide'd them in a little while, so I gotta check the book. Okay, so in the sous vide, the Home Chef Sous Vide Cookbook, I have a recipe that is for beet salad with arugula, one of my favorite things to get out at restaurants, and I just love beets. And cooking them sous vide style makes like a really rich, dense beet. It's different than cooking it in water. Like usually I would boil it, I guess, but whenever I boil beets, I find that the water like vanishes very quickly. And also it takes forever, and a lot of the taste of the beet gets released in the water. So with sous vide cooking, it keeps it all there in the bag, and all the like flavors and rich tones of the beets, all that like earthiness stays right in the beet. So I'm really excited. Okay. So let's see, to make beets in the sous vide, I need to set the machine to 185 degrees for 3 hours and 15 minutes. So I'm gonna set it up and it'll be ready for dinner time. Okay, 185, here we go. Oh no, keep going, keep going. I get so nervous when I get close to the number. 1, oh wait, 3, 4, wait, is it on 5? 185? I can't tell. Cool! So I love this. Okay, that was pretty simple. So it's gonna beep 3 times when it's ready for the food to go in. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna vacuum seal the beets so they're ready to drop in the machine. I love having fresh herbs on hand. I grow my own indoor herb garden, and this time I just literally pruned from the plant. It smells so good. So I have my beets here. I'm just gonna cut them in half. I've also sous vide'd beets whole. It's fine. Sometimes I'll peel them ahead of time. Sometimes I don't, like today. I don't think that really matters to me much. So I'm just having them, and I'm gonna put them all in this this bag, but you could also use Ziploc bag. Just make sure to use the water displacement method so you get all the air bubble out when you put it in, if you're doing it that way. It's great to not look like a murderer when you're done with your beets. Look at that, gross. Okay, in goes the thyme. Oh, it has beet juice on it. On there, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. I love to have a container of salt that just allows you to do a little pinch. It's so much easier than grind. Okay. You know, I have a weird obsession with vacuum sealing food if you follow any of my recipes on Sip Bite Go. So you know, I'm just gonna make it look decorative so I can get that satisfaction from a beautifully vacuum sealed arrangement of beets. All right, we're ready to roll. Look at my beets. All right, it is time for the beets to go inside the Souspreme, and I'm gonna do my first cook right now. So in they're gonna go, and they'll be ready in a little over 3 hours. And when I put them inside, then I'm gonna put the lid back on, and I'm gonna set the valve back here to release, not seal, so it can still vent out the top if it needs to, but it won't be locked in there in like pressure cooker mode. So here we go. I turned it the wrong way. Okay. Oh, it is like, yep, very warm in there. Heating up, going for a bath, going for a little swim. Does that not look awesome? Look at those colors. Yeah, okay. Put that in. You have to be a little bit careful with vegetables, if you didn't know this, because vegetables often float. Now, these beets are pretty like freaking solid, so they're not floating or anything, but if I was doing like sous vide corn on the cob or something, I would just throw some sous vide weights in there, because corn floats. Okay, so this is back on. It's all locked in there. The valve is on release. It makes a real clear click, so it's on release. And oh, this is just so fun. I really like it. It's so pretty. Does it look good on me? So that's all set. And in just a few hours, I'll have some delicious beets for dinner. So here's how those sous vide beets turned out the first time I used the Souspreme multipot. So I took them out of the water and then just cut right into the bag. And beets are a pretty unique thing, along with a lot of vegetables, where unlike a lot of other sous vide cooks, you don't have to finish them in a cast iron skillet or anything afterwards. They're ready to eat right out of the bag. They're completely cooked, and I just seasoned them with an orange dressing. It couldn't have been easier, so the next day I made some sous vide steak. This is a culotte steak. It's a pretty standard 1.5 inch steak, and I just seasoned it with a little bit of salt and a sprig of fresh rosemary. I love rosemary in steak. It's really the perfect combination. So then I went to the Fissler Sous Vide Souspreme machine, and I first set the time. I did a 2.5 hour cook for these steaks. That's usually a pretty common cook time for me. And then I cooked the steaks at 136 to get about a medium rare on them. When the machine was heat up, I just added the bag, and in they went for 2.5 hours. And the Fissler Souspreme sous vide machine, it beeps when the cook is done. So that's how I knew to take it out. I usually throw my steaks in an ice bath just to help them cool down and stop the cooking process. So when they hit the cast iron skillet with all that delicious melted butter, they just get a really nice sear on the outside. Now don't forget to pat dry the steak before searing it. That's going to make that really beautiful brown crust that you see, and it makes it look like a steakhouse steak. Feels like a really special meal at home. So I also fried up the rosemary, or you can see my husband actually joined me for this one. So he fried the rosemary, and we were ready to plate and dig into that delicious steak. It really turned out so beautiful. That thick layer of the brown crust was perfect, but due to the inside being cooked sous vide style, it was so tender. So it was like this contrast between the buttery outside, I did a little finishing salt on it as well, that nice thick crust, and then the inside was just so incredibly tender. I ordered this meat from an online butcher, so I usually have a good stock in the freezer, which made it easy to give this a whirl with the Souspreme machine. Well, it really couldn't have turned out any better. It was so simple to use the Fissler Souspreme, And I'm really excited that I was able to show this to you. Doesn't that look so good? I also threw some fresh herbs from my indoor herb garden on here as well. So before I let you go, just a few fun facts about using the Souspreme multi-cooker. Well, even for a 24-hour cook, for something like that's hard to cook really quickly, it really takes that long time, like doing some pork roast or doing some short ribs or something like that, which I'm actually going to be featuring in a video pretty soon here at sipbitego. Well, what you need to know is that for 24 hours, you can sous vide in the Souspreme machine, and it's going to keep that water temperature within 1 or 2 degrees. And that's really important when it comes to sous vide cooking, because you need the temperature to be exact. Like, there is a difference between a steak cooked at 135 and a steak cooked at 140 and a steak cooked at 145. And spoiler, no one's cooking their steak at 145. But anyway, you don't want that much variation when you're cooking, so it's really important that a sous vide machine is able to keep the temperature at that precise cooking temperature that you need. Another function that's pretty compatible with sous vide cooking is that inside this pot, you can actually saute. So if you're going to do something like something that needs to be seared after cooking. So let's say that you're going to do sous vide steak. You could sous vide the steak in here, and then you could dump out the water when it's done sous vide cooking, and then you could sear the steak to finish it right here in the same pot. You could do that with meatballs. I'm gonna do it pretty soon with some short ribs I'm cooking. So I love the idea that you only use really one system, and that kind of keeps things cleaner in the kitchen. I hope this video helps just as many people figure out how to use and set up their Souspreme multi-cooker for the first time. And the one thing that you have to know is that this literally took me like 1 minute to figure out, and you saw me do it start to finish. So now that you know how to do it, based on what I kind of flubbed around, I think you'd be able to do it even faster. It really was just plug in the machine, prepare my sous vide stuff, and then pop it in. So anyways, well, I hope that until next time, you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to the sipbitego channel on YouTube, of course, because I have so many new sous vide recipes coming your way. Well, until next time, have a wonderful and delicious day. Cheers! There's so many delicious other videos to check out on the sipbitego YouTube channel and at sipbitego.com.